We have some examples to work with. So it could be reducing the number of staff on till and putting more staff stocking. Give me another example. Changing the layout of the store. Okay, let's change now the layout of the store. What are the implications? Don't supermarkets do this?
Yeah.
1 minute you're going in for 2 months and you know where your tea bags are and everything else, and another minute you walk into the same thing and there's no tea bags there. Why? Because they moved everything around.
But there is simplification as well.
Yes. What are the implications of having a move round every month or every 2 months?
What happens is that the customer then tend to know where things
Yes.
are.
Yes.
So there are implications in terms of revenue.
Yes. But what's the implications in terms of staff, in terms of costs, in terms of hiring more people, in terms of getting it done, in terms of making it look presentable? Do you understand? Does that make sense? So I've given you 2 examples there, in terms of reducing staff on the till, having more people stock, in terms of changing the layout, okay? In terms of maybe having a new section in the store, a new section for more Caribbean type food, Caribbean tropical food. Because, you know, when my son was going to school, he used to make me buy 24 cans of Caribbean drinks, which we used to buy 24, and it used to cost him a certain amount, and he used to sell it for 50 pence each. It used to cost him 25 pence, sell it for 50 pence. So he used to make 50% gross margin or 100% on top. Every single week, he was turning over £50 a week, clear, by selling these drinks at lunchtime. But only certain Tesco stores sold them. Only Tesco stores sold them in ethnic communities, in Croydon, in Brixton, in Thornton Heath. You didn't see it in Purley Way or in predominantly white communities. You didn't see it. Why? Because there was no Caribbean people who would buy those type of foods or drinks. So, do you understand? That could be another change. Does that make sense? Okay, so afterwards you've got to draw conclusions and recommendations. So you must say, give a specific example, and then say, what would be the conclusions of doing this? Ultimately, you know, what is going to be the conclusions of doing this, and then your recommendations. Should it go ahead or not? And if they're going to go ahead, what are you going to need to make sure it is effective? Make sense? So we've done D1, yes? D2. Critically evaluate. The use of a force field analysis in the context of meeting organisation objectives. What are the key word or words here, please?
Critically evaluate.
Critically evaluate. What does it mean, Joe?
It means you get the pros and the cons,
Yes.
right? And add your own opinions.
Yes. Give your own critical opinion. The critical opinion of the advantages, your critical opinion of disadvantages, and finally, your own view that you're going to take. Because we all do these in our lives today. We all do it. Major decision coming up, we say, we are critical about the advantages, we're critical about the disadvantages, and then we say what we're going to do. So just to give an example, when my son was born, my son had transposition of the great veins. So before he was born. And what that is the oxygen was going around to the oxygen and blood was going around to the blood. So we had a decision to make. The doctors at that time said to us, you could have a termination. But they said, if you decide to go ahead, these are all the other things that could happen in the future. But you could decide to do this. So we weighed everything up critically. We weighed up all the pros and all the cons. We were critical about it both. And we decided that we must go ahead no matter what because we need to give him this chance. Do you understand? So we took a critical view of all the good things and bad things that could happen. And then we said, this is what we're going to do. Yeah? So when we're talking about critically evaluate, this is what you do in major decisions. Not for every decision, but in major decisions. Not like, am I going to have this shoe or that shoe? It's more impulse than anything else. Hey, Sharon. Okay, the use of force field analysis in the context of meeting organisation objectives. The next thing we need to understand are, what are some of the organisation objectives in relation to Asda in the store? Tell me some of the organisation objectives of Asda in the store, please.
Stocking shelves.
Yeah, let's have 100% stock on the shelves. not having gaps in the shelves, because if we have gaps, then we're losing money. And space is money. What else?
Meeting sales targets.
Someone else apart from David? Yes, David, meeting sales targets. Someone else, come on.
Customer service.
Good customer service. What level customer service are we going to have? What else? Meeting sales targets, you said that. Okay, so these are some of the objectives that you might have in Asda in store, yes? Okay. So we need to now find out what.
Force field.
So we need to know what is force field analysis. Where are we going to get this information? From the online class. Good. The link is there. The slides are there. So let's have a look at... Okay, let me explain what this is. Force field analysis, look this way, so I explain. In the middle of force field analysis, you have a question. Okay, so the question is relating to organisation objectives. Let's employ more staff to get the shelves stocked, so they are fully stocked all the time. Yes? So in the middle of force field, you have a question. And then on one side, you have the pros. On the other side, you have the cons. As a team, you come together and you list down all the pros. Do you understand that? You list down all the advantages. And then, on the right-hand side, you list down all the disadvantages. So tell me, in terms of hiring more staff, advantages, please. Tell me the advantages of hiring more staff. What?
Increase efficiency if possible.
Increase getting more stock on the shelf. What else? Increased efficiency. What else?
Fastest service.
Better customer service is going to lead to, definitely. What else?
Training.
No, not quite. Maybe, some way.
Profit.
Sorry?
Profit, what about profitability?
More profitability, good. So maybe you got 5 there. Let's look at some negative things about...
It's more for the company. To hire more
Cost.
It's going to be more costly to get more staff in. What else? You might need training for specific staff. What else? You have to retain the staff. What else?
What you mean, like manage the stuff?
You have to manage the staff. Good. And now, here's the crucial thing. To each of those pros and cons, you allocate a number. 1, 2, or 3. 1 being less important and 3 being more important. Yes? So let's say increased profit. Would you give it a 1 or 3? As being 3. You want profit? Don't you want profit? Do you not want to be paid at the end of the month?
No, because you think of one as actually great.
1 is being the lowest. 3 is being the highest. So listen. 1 is the lowest. 3 is the highest. So in terms of profit, do you want it to be a 1 or 3? 3.
always.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the negative side. In terms of costing you more, is that going to be a 1 or 3?
That would be 1.
No. In terms of 3.
Hang on.
It's going to cost you more. What's going to be more of a disadvantage to you? 1 or 3?
3.
3. Okay? Right? So 1 or 3, yes? 3 is always the highest. Highest disadvantage or highest benefit. Make sense? Okay. Calm down.
That's a baby trap.
Yes. It must be your jumper weighing you down. Okay. Why have you got that different colour on again? Okay. You wore the same colour last week. 3 weeks ago. Okay. I noticed these things. Okay, so 1 is the lowest, 3 is the highest in terms of positive, or 3 is the highest in terms of what it's going to cost you. So then you add up the total for the positive and the total for the negative. The highest score you go with. That's it. So someone explain it to me, please. So what do you do in the middle? The question or the change or the proposal. Good. On this side, what do you have? The positive, and then you rank them from
1 to 3.
1 being the
Lowest.
and 3 being the,
Highest.
and then what do you do at the end of that? You
Add it
All
up.
add them all up, and you have a number. And then on this side,
The negative.
Negative.
Yeah.
and then you rank it from
1 to 3.
1 being
Lowest.
the, 3 being the,
Highest.
and then at the end you,
Low.
and at the end of it, which one do you go for?
The highest.
One with the highest total. It's because if this one has more than that, then this one outweighs that. So in this instance, do we go with it or not?
No.
No. Why? Because the negative outweigh the positive. Okay? But what's the thing about this? Tell me about the negative thing about force field analysis.
It's not scientific.
It's not scientific.
Yeah.
It's subjective. You can manipulate the figures because I can give it a 1 to 3 depending upon my position in the company. And if I want it to go ahead or not. And so if you're in a team, you could be fighting, no, it's a 1. No, I think it's a 3. Do you understand? It's very subjective. Okay, but nevertheless, nevertheless, it is a tool that you could use. And the question is asking you for force field analysis.